My tour starts here in Margate. I used to come here as a child, but I don't really remember an awful lot of it. The only thing I can remember is a wasp once going down the back of my sister's top and stinging her several times. Strange memories. Wait, stop laughing, it's not funny. From here, I'm going to go around the coast. I'm going to go down to Pegwell Bay, where I'll see a replica Viking ship that overlooks one of the original hoverports, where the hovercraft used to go across the Calais. I'm going to go down to Ramsgate. I'm going to finish the day in Kent's only city, the cathedral city of Canterbury. Do you like swimming in the sea, but you're worried you might get washed out? Well, here's the answer. This is a pool just behind me here, a pool right by the sea with all seawater rather than the usual chlorine stuff. But it's all enclosed, all the water comes in from the sea, and it makes a good plunge pool as well, because literally about 100 yards away on the beach is a sauna. On the beach, yes, a sauna. You can go and take a sauna and then just turn around, head for the pool and take a little dip. This is what I always looked forward to when I came to Margate, Dreamland. 19th century theme park. It's been through it a little bit. Fell into disrepair, was sold to a Dutch company, sold to the local council who wanted to redevelop it for housing. Then the locals campaigned, stopped that. It got sold to a different council and eventually it reopened. So it's been through it a little bit. A big part of why it actually survived is this brilliant wooden roller coaster, the Scenic Railway. This is actually a listed building, so when they try to sell it off, if they were going to develop, they would need to somehow work around this. Unfortunately it is closed off at the moment. We've got some maintenance work going on. That's not the way you're supposed to ride it, so we'll move you up and down there. Memories here. So I'm leaving Margate behind, the lovely Margate. I'm heading for somewhere a little bit more infamous, Botany Bay. A little bit of history for you. Botany Bay was discovered by Captain Cook in 1877, and for a while we were sending criminals to the USA, and that kind of fell through a little bit, so we needed somewhere else. So they found Botany Bay as a good example of somewhere we could send the criminals. So it became a bit of a rough place, really, full of criminals, full of kangaroos, full of wallabies. I'm looking forward to it. I hope I see a kangaroo. And here it is. I mean, it doesn't seem too bad, to be honest. I mean, as punishments go, this wouldn't be a bad place to stay. Let's just go around there. I think that might be. Yeah, I think that's where the prisoners got to stay. Quite nice here, really. I've yet to run into any kangaroos. Come to Pegwell Bay on the outskirts of Ramsgate. I've come here, I'm looking forward to it, because in a little while I'm going to see something that will bring back some really good memories from my childhood. But I'll come back to that later. For now, I'm sitting up on a small cliff looking at Hugel. That's Hugel. Hugel is a replica Viking longboat that was donated to us by Prince George of Denmark to commemorate the 1500th anniversary of the landings of Hengist and Horsa, who were the leaders of the first Anglo-Saxon invasion. Well, I say they were. Apparently now it's been found that they weren't. They didn't actually exist. They were mythical characters. But the invasion did happen. It happened right here, or close to here, and it's generally seen as the beginning of English history. Right? You had the Angles and the Saxons landing. There were no Angles here before, just the Britons. So the start of English history commemorated right here. But also, that's not the first invasion here, because it's now thought that this is the first place that was landed by Caesar's Roman army back in 46 BC. There's been remains found near here of a fortress and some of the ships that were actually brought in. So quite a significant place for invasions, really. But that's not really why I'm here. This is why I came to Pegwell Bay. Now I get it, it doesn't really look an awful lot, but it brings back memories for me. Back in the late 50s, early 60s, we came up with the idea of hovercrafts, and in 1965 the first commercial hovercraft crossed from here to Calais. And this, what I'm standing on, is the runway for Terminal 3. Terminal 4 just over there, Terminals 1 and 2 just over there. 4 runways, 4 huge, great big hovercrafts that carried 60 vehicles, 418 passengers from here to Calais, and I used to love watching them. So coming here and seeing it, pretty much they've knocked the terminal building down. The car park is still there, that was used for go-karting for a while, but they haven't built here. And yeah, actually standing on the runway of where I used to watch the hovercraft, fantastic. My last stop for the day is Canterbury. Canterbury is the only city in Kent, and it's surrounded by this wall behind me. You can see lots of fortresses all joined together and all in really good condition. Originally a 1st century city wall, although it did decay and it was restored in the 14th century. It goes the whole way around and really does look impressive. Just across the road is St Augustine's Abbey, built in 598 BC, very old, but not as old as St Martin's Church behind it, which we don't know the actual date of. It was the private chapel of Queen Bertha of Kent until St Augustine arrived in 597, so all we know is it dates from before that. It is now home to part of King's School, which is the oldest school in England. So we have the oldest church in England behind it, the oldest school in England within it. So quite a bit of history there. Now, St Augustine was also responsible for the first cathedral in the city, although it's not this one that you're seeing before you. In 1077 it was completely rebuilt into this fantastic structure, which is home to the Archbishop of Canterbury, who is of course the leader of the Church of England and nominally seen as the leader of the Anglican Church. Current incumbent is Justin Welby, a guy that courts controversy sometimes, including the marriage of Harry and Meghan. That got a little bit controversial when they did their interview with Oprah, and in that they said that the wedding that we all saw on the Saturday was a bit of a mock-up, that they had actually been married on the Wednesday in a private ceremony hosted by or taken by Justin Welby. Now the thing is, when royal marriages are concerned in English law, the private wedding is a bit of a no-no. So he was close to getting into a little bit of trouble, but he's claimed now that actually that didn't actually happen. There was a ceremony, but it was just an exchanging of vows, and the official wedding took place in front of everybody on the Saturday. So they think they were married on the Wednesday, he thinks they were married on the Saturday. Not sure which is the truth, but his version certainly gets him out of a whole heap of trouble. Another strange little fact, Canterbury is the only place in Kent where people voted Labour last time around. Everywhere else Conservative. And it's thought that's because of the high number of students. Among adults between 16 and 76, 22% are listed as being full-time students. That compares with 7% around the rest of the country. Another fun little fact, I think it's Pamplona, isn't it, in Spain, where they have the bull running. In medieval times, they used to have that here in the butter market, bull running, just through the streets. They're mad. So I mentioned before about there being a lot of students in town. When I booked a room at King's College, University of Kent, I thought I was going to book somewhere that's repurposed. Used to be a university place. No, it's actually student accommodation. They let it out while they're on holiday. So yeah, little room in the halls. It's actually really nice, to be honest. So I'm going to get my head down, get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow I head for Sussex. Good night.